Hey everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of Mindset for Success. My name is Cliff Sereday. I'm the team leader for Marti Hampton Real Estate. And this week we are unlocking our secret sauce, as Marty says, on our open house strategy and how we were able to pick up an average of 1 to 2 unrepresented buyers last week at our open houses. So I am going to have Dave share my screen and we're going to jump right into it. So first, why open houses? First off, it gets you face to face in front of the client. So that's, my logic is if I can get in front of you, my chances of capturing you as a lead or turning you into as a client goes way up. They're bottom of the funnel lead sources. So these people are actively out searching for homes and are typically ready to go within, that 30 to 60 day mark. They're low to no cost. So agents getting into the business, this is a great way to start building up that pipeline of buyers and working on converting quicker at no cost, right? Listing opportunities. So our idea behind any listing is to turn that listing into another listing. So open houses is a great way to showcase your skills out to other sellers in the neighborhood. Your social credibility. So that's a main thing. One, that as you're building your business, you're out in the field showcasing what you're doing on social media, and we'll get a little bit into what that looks like pertaining to the open house. Your listing credibility. So when you have people coming into the open houses and you have all your material there, you're speaking with them, you're saying the right things, that those are potential sellers that could be walking through the door. So you want to make sure that you're showcasing your brand and yourself as an agent at the highest level while you're doing open houses. And it gives you an opportunity to practice your craft. So again, whether you're a new agent or you're a more seasoned agent that just never really got into open houses, using this strategy that we have can really open you up to getting you, again, in front of more people, using those skills that you have and putting them to work. So you're picking your open house. Okay. So you're picking your open house. How do you choose an open house? So one, if you're on a team, obviously you're pushing through the listings that are coming into your team. But if you're an independent agent, this is a great opportunity, especially being with EXP or other larger brokerages. You have opportunities to host other listing agents' open houses. But you want to consider a few things. So if you're an independent agent looking for an open house, hosting an open house that's been on the market for 50 days may not be your best use of time unless there was a refresh on the property, so a price reduction, or maybe there's a seller incentive for buyers to come into the property. That may be a good way to get people into the door. The location is important. So obviously, if there's high traffic areas are going to be great for open houses because there will be more foot traffic, more drive-by traffic to get people to come in. If an open house is kind of out in the sticks or, in a more rural area, you're probably, will get less traffic coming in. So just keep that in mind. Your price point. So we kind of find that our, sweet spot for open houses is between that 350 and, 800 mark. When you start getting into the, luxury market, you will see less and less unrepresented buyers, which that's who you're trying to capture as they come through the door. And then property type. So looking for a property that you are able to push advertisement with signage out in front of the house. You're obviously just going to generate more attraction to that house, to that event that you're hosting. So consider single family properties or HOAs that allow for signage out in the neighborhood and on the streets surrounding. Oh, makes sense. Go down. Okay. So you've scheduled your open house. Now what? We're going to create a launch plan. So that being with your social media content, being strategic on that, circle prospecting the neighborhood and surrounding areas, door knocking, and signage. So let's walk through what that looks like. So creating an aggressive social media strategy for open houses is a great way, one, to advertise you just as an agent for your clients and friends and family around on your SOI. But push out these social media, your flyers or your videos on all social media platforms. So using Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever you can do to push this all out there is one, it's going to be beneficial to the sellers, showing what you're doing if it is your listing, what you're doing for that seller. You're putting your all into it. And then shoot a reel at the property. Go out and tour the property. Get content prior to that open house date, so people can you can build up that hype for the open house, that event that you're going to be hosting. This is where your social media credibility takes over. People out there, that you are what they see. So if I'm, and this kind of can be translated into other avenues of your real estate business. But when you're working with social media and you're creating content for these properties, it looks like you're busy. So whether you're a brand new agent and you just got your foot in the door, last week, pushing out there that, I'm out in the field, I'm working, that's what they're seeing. And people want to work with people that they think are working. And then being strategic about that. So specifically on our team, so we start our social media content on Tuesdays. That goes out it starts hitting. We put a paid ad behind the flyer or the digital content that we're putting out. That's on we used geotagging? Geo-targeting for that ad. So it's going to circle around that surrounding area of that property. So the neighbors are seeing it. People in that area will see it. So it'll kind of target that property. And then we will get into door knocking. So we talk about getting back to wait, hold on, let me back up. Okay. So circle calling. So you've started your social media flyers and putting that content out. Next day, so on Wednesdays, on our team specifically, we'll circle call the neighborhood. So typically someone who buys a home is someone that knows someone in the neighborhood or in the surrounding area. So we'll call them and give them an invite to the property. To the open house. So I'll kind of run through this script that we use to do that invite to the neighbors. Hey there, my name is Cliff Sereday, and I'm with Marti Hampton Real Estate, and I'm helping the Smiths with the sale of their home at 123 Main Street. I wanted to make sure to let you know that I'm hosting an open house this Friday from 5 to 7 p.m., and I promised the sellers that I would get an invite out to all the neighbors. I'm curious, who do you know that may be interested in moving to this area? Thank you, and if you can think of anyone else, please let me know. And again, feel free to stop by on Friday from 5 to 7. It's an easy script, this is a great script to do if you're just getting into real estate, because there's no hard close with it. You kind of can ease your nerves, get into circle calling by doing an open house invite to the neighbors. I also recommend keeping the home that's listed on that call list. Call the owner and invite them to their open house. It's just showing that this agent's really working for me. They're out there. They know that you're circle calling you. They know that you're sending these invites out to all the neighbors. You can also kind of pitch this too. So we do typically, if we're in a more high traffic area, we'll do a Friday open house. From 5 to 7, we'll make it kind of like a pick your neighbor party. So you can get all the nosy neighbors in on Friday, get them out of the way, and really use that opportunity to prospect them as future sellers. But typically, again, this is a great call to make to the neighbors. They're excited that they could be getting a new neighbor, or they didn't know that the neighbor's house was up for sale. So it's really just furthering driving the sale of that property. So you've called all the neighbors, gave them an invite for that open house, and now we will door knock the neighborhood. So the next day, you create an invitation. Think of these as events that you're hosting at this listing. So we're going to create an invitation, letting them know of all the dates of the open house for that weekend. You either purchase door hangers, or go and physically door knock and talk to the neighbors and hand them that invite. It personalizes the experience for the neighborhood. Again, you're always pushing for that listing to have a baby, have another listing. So these sellers are seeing how hard that you're working for this specific listing. They know that could be translated into their home one day. So when we're door knocking, it's kind of the same spiel, but I'll go through this script. Hi neighbor, my name is Cliff Sereday, and I'm with Marti Hampton Real Estate. The reason for my pop by is to invite you to your neighbor's open house this weekend. Will you be around? Doesn't matter if they are or not. Great. Well, I promised your neighbor that I would do everything in my power to help them sell their home. So while I have you, who do you know that is in the market to look who is in the market looking to buy a home. And out of curiosity, what are your real estate plans over the next 6 to 12 months? Many of our neighbors have signed up for our monthly news update. What is your best email address to get you in the neighborhood update? So I keep saying neighbor inside of the script because one, it doesn't sound as sales pitchy, right? So I'm obviously asking for, if they know anybody who's looking to move and what are their plans to move. But I kept pushing in the beginning, I'm helping your neighbors instead of saying, I'm helping the Smiths move, or I'm helping the sellers move. I'm helping your neighbor move. It's friendly, and gets me in the door with them. So after you've door knocked, so you've gone down, and typically a good rule is 20 across the street, 10 on each side of the home. Now, if you are really looking to push, I would team up with another team member and kind of divide and conquer the neighborhood. We had, I believe, an agent of ours door knocked 60 doors last weekend. So it's really, and she saw the return on that. But typically, 20 across, 10 on each side. And my favorite part, and every agent's favorite part, is our signage. So make it known with signage. Make this an event. So you are remember, you're marketing to other sellers at the same time. So this is free advertisement for yourself as an agent or for your team. And the sellers can see that. We always get comments on our signs. So our team specifically puts out 40 signs for every open house that we do, especially in high traffic areas. We want to make sure that we get all of those out. Balloons on the signs or on the for sale sign, make it stick out, make that house stick out as much as you can. And sale flags or any other marketing signage that you can put out there. So some teams, they may have a tent. Throw the tent up in the driveway. Have another agent out there with resources for them. But just make on every intersection leading up. So if you're in a developed subdivision, but there's a busy street on the outside, make sure you're lining that street to get people into the subdivision, and then directionals to get them to the property. This is huge for especially unrepresented buyers, because they're going to be people that are just driving around on that Saturday, that they're browsing and they didn't know about this open house because they don't have an agent yet, and they see the open house signs. Those are the people that are going to be coming off the streets that you guys are going to be able to meet face to face and hope turn them into a lead and then into a client. And keep in mind that these people may be coming in and they most likely will not purchase that specific house. So especially if an agent or if a client is looking at multiple open houses that weekend, they're comparing each one to the next. So keep that in mind when you're working with them, that it may not be this house, but have resources available at that house if they may be interested in something else in the neighborhood, or keep note of what they're looking for at that open house and when you're having that conversation with them. So you've did your social media, you've door knocked, you've circle called, you've got all your signs up. What are we going to do to set up for the open house? So have a sign-in system of some sort, whether that's paper or digital. There's a lot of CRMs have built-in open house sign-in sheets in them, but at a base level, have a paper sign-in sheet for yourself to make sure you can follow up on. Have market data on that current area, on that, you could be in that, if you're in a larger neighborhood, have market data specific to that home. So you're offering a resource to them. They're not just coming in, you're not bombarding them with, who's your agent? Who are you working with anyone yet? How do you like the house? You have resources to give back to them. So come from contribution and then have your ask. Off-market binder. This is a great kind of tool to get people into a buyer agency with you. So if you have a larger firm or you're on a team, so specific to us, we have 1,500 agents in our firm just in Raleigh alone, that we have a binder with big red font on it that's off-market for clients only. Leave it on the counter next to you. Have someone ask. People will ask about it because everybody wants what they can't have, right? So they're going to get curious about it. These are only for my clients. Have those buyer agency agreements with you. People will sign them and then set up there for that buyer consultation, right? So whether that binder is filled with old MLS sheets or whatever you got to do to have that binder stacked, get them in front of you, get them to meet with you so you can go through, dive a little bit deeper into what they're looking for and how you can help them get into a home. Have a Bluetooth speaker with you. Do not sit in the house with silence. Make it an event. Think about this as a party every single time you're doing it. Let people leave with that impression, especially sellers going in. They want to see that you're not sitting hungover on a Saturday at the kitchen island. Have music going. There's playlists. So there's like Realtor specific playlists on Apple Music and Spotify or Pandora, specific for open houses. Leverage that. Make an experience for that person walking through the home. Have drinks and snacks. So we do this on our Friday open houses. We'll always have champagne and orange juice for mimosas and some finger food. Make it memorable for them coming in. Make it inviting. Make them stay a little bit longer in the house. So if you put a glass of champagne in someone's hand, they're going to hang out for a little bit. They're going to be thinking about the house a little bit longer, and you actually will have more time to speak with them after they're done viewing the house. The script. So I see this a lot going into open houses, and sometimes I'll pop by our agents' open houses and take a look at what they're doing. What you say matters to these people coming into the door, right? So I always recommend never hover over the front door. Do not guard the front door for your life. Let people get in. They are not there to talk to you off the jump. Let them look at the property. So whether that you invite them in, and then send them on their way. Tell them about the ensuite in the primary bedroom. Point out a feature that you want them to go check it out. Hey, I'll be in the kitchen. Come see me when you get done. I'd love to hear your feedback on the house, okay? So when you get to the script and they do come back to you, you're going to have two types of people in there. You're going to have neighbors and you're going to have potential buyers. So I'm going to walk through a script on what that looks like for both scenarios. So you have a neighbor, which I want you to get the word neighbor out of your brain when they're in the house with you, because at that point they're a potential seller. So what brings you in today? They're going to say they're a neighbor. Awesome. Doing a little nosy neighbor market research, huh? Right? So crack a joke at it. Everybody knows that their neighbor's going to be walking through the house. How does your home compare to this one? What are your real estate plans over the next 6 to 12 months? If you were to make a move, when would that be? And where are you headed? And then in a perfect world, lead into that fact. What are they looking to get from the house? Ask, how long ago did they purchase that? What does the return look like for them? And then you have your buyers that are coming in, right? So now we're always looking for an appointment or qualifying them if they have a realtor already. So how did you find us today? Using these questions kind of lean into if they're working with a realtor, or how do they find us? So if they say Zillow, keep moving with the conversation, but if they may just tell you at that point that they have a realtor. Have you submitted any offers yet? Again, they're just qualifying questions. How are you finding the searches for your homes? How are you looking for homes? Again, if they say someone has me on a search, or I'm getting properties sent to me, or the collaboration center, some sort of trigger word, you can probably make the inclination that they may be working with a realtor. Have you been pre-approved already? So if they're going through, try to do some qualifying questions on pre-approvals. Perfect. Well, I've pulled some really interesting market data and some off-market properties. Before you guys leave, swing by the table and take a look at that if you've caught them at the door, or have that market data ready right there for them. If they do have a realtor, right? So say, we're already working with somebody. Ask them who their realtor is, right? Because if I hear an agent say, are you working with anybody? Knee jerk, that client's going to say yes, or that prospect is going to say, yes, I'm working with somebody, because you're asking them a terminal question. They don't want to be sold anything, right? They're just there to look at the house. So if I say, yes, I'm working with somebody, then ask them who they are. Who's a realtor? If they can't name anybody, they're probably not working with anyone. And if they do name somebody, ask them how it's been going, right? Lean into that. If I just talked with my agents a couple days ago about this, that if you feel like you can service a client better than that current realtor is, that client can fire that realtor. They're not set in cement. Now, should you be malicious and go after everyone else's clients? No. But if I feel that, they're in my open house and I'm asking the right questions and they're leaning to the fact that, their agent's been MIA, or they've set me up on a search and they haven't called me back. Move forward a little bit, push the buck a little bit. And you've concluded your open house. So say, you've got 10 people that came in and you've grabbed two buyers out of it, unrepresented. What are we doing now? Are we going to let them sit and just, maybe they'll call me after the weekend's over? No, we're going to get right into a follow-up plan. So your money is in your follow-up. So if you let it sit, they're gone. Because if I'm a buyer actively looking at homes and going to open houses, I left your open house and I'm heading right to another one. So the agent who follows up first, if I'm unrepresented, is most likely going to be the one that I'm working with now. So I encourage you to record a personal video to text each attendee that you spoke with, right? So make it personal. It puts a face to the name, and you're doing 90% more than any other realtor is doing. So it takes you 2 minutes. If you had 5 texts to send out to the attendees, it'll take you 5 minutes to record and send all those out. Hey, John, this is Cliff with Marti Hampton Real Estate. I wanted to thank you for being one of the first people to view 123 Main Street. I'm going to follow up with you about the off-market property opportunities that I have shortly. Talk soon. Leave it as that. So you already told them I'm going to follow up with you shortly. Input the attendees' data into your CRM and get them set up on an e-alert based off of the home that they viewed. Get them already set up on that, so it's going to get you into their inbox. And follow up later that same day or the following day if you were hosting a Friday open house at night with property to view, and go in for the appointment at that time, right? So now I've sent the text with the video to them. I'm going to get them set up on the search, and I'm going to follow up that same day. So if I'm hosting a 12 to 3, I want to make a phone call before 5 o'clock to that prospect to get them in for a buyer consult, get them to a showing, get some sort of appointment or next steps set with that client. And it's crucial, again, because like I just said, I'm going from one open house, I'm going to the next one. So if I don't hear from you, I'm already moving forward. Or, if I go into that open house, and what if I really like the next one, but I haven't had an agent reach out yet? You could be that agent that gets them into that house. So just be rigorous, be aggressive with your follow-up. These are bottom of the funnel leads. You can get these type of leads to convert in 30 days or less. It literally could be that weekend. So use that as your guidelines when you're going through. And then after, just, kind of final thoughts on our open houses is, if you're not putting your all into an open houses happen on the weekends, right? So we're already, Monday through Friday, we're ripping and running as realtors, especially, in the Raleigh market. It's super busy. You want to have your weekends to spend with your family and take that personal time. So if you're not putting your all in at open houses, just stay home, because just spend the time with your family then, right? But if I can go and I can grab even one unrepresented buyer or get one solid lead out of an open house, it was a day well spent. And I'm going to do that every single weekend until I, have my pipeline built up, especially coming in as a new agent. You can build a whole career off of just hosting other people's open houses. If that's all you did, you could build a beautiful career from that. I'm going to open it up to any questions that we may have on that, so I can answer some of those.
We'll give you guys a minute if you want to put some questions in the chat or just DM us. We have a couple questions. People want to know, do you perform everything you mentioned here? Do you perform these for all the open houses, or does it differ based on the price point?
I would take this essentially yes. Now, are we doing a Friday night open house at every open house? No. I think those are more geared towards neighbors. So if something's very rural, we're probably not doing a Friday night open house. But all the same steps with the social media marketing, calling, door knocking, to an extent. Are we going, there's going to be some open houses where we're going to go a little bit more extreme, or we'll have like a mega open house. But I would follow, this recipe, scale to pace based on price point. Now, if it's my own listing, and it's $1 million listing, I'm going to push everything to the extreme. Now, if it's a $200,000 modular home, am I going to go buck wild on it? Probably not, but I'm still going to, every seller deserves the same service. So I'm going to do as much as I can to get that home sold via an open house.
Do you guys do any virtual open houses at all?
No, we don't.
And then how do you determine the time and date of an open house? You said you do Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Yes.
And that differs by price point as well?
No. So it's actually kind of depending on your market. So the Friday night open houses, we like those because, again, so for high traffic areas, it catch people on their way home from work. So we'll do that 5 to 7 mark, just a quick 2 hours. It's just kind of a pre-launch to the weekend. So it gets time for the neighbors to come in. And then Saturdays are typically 12 to 3. I'm just going to get people in the middle of the day. And then because we're in Raleigh, we're in the South on Sundays. We want to make sure we get people after church. So on Sundays, we do 1 to 4.
And then Rob here wants to know, when it comes to the cold calling and the door hanging, you mentioned that you ask for their email at some point. Has there been a good success rate of agents doing that successfully?
It kind of depends. We've been able to capture a decent amount of emails from this, but it's really just when you're door knocking for that and asking for that email address for the monthly newsletter, do that on your how comfortable you are with door knocking. Because I would my advice to a new agent maybe coming in, or anyone who maybe hasn't door knocked, kind of don't botch it if you get nervous at the end, right? So I'd rather have you nail the invite to the open house instead of being so focused on that close for the newsletter.
And Candace wants to know, can you give specific examples of how to make meaningful follow-ups? I get contacts, usually emails, and I'm finding that my email listing alerts are not quite getting the engagement I'm looking for.
Yes. Can you actually repeat the first part of that question?
Oh, yeah. Can you give specific examples of how to make meaningful follow-ups? So maybe like the e-alerts you mentioned or the drip campaigns?
Yeah. So with these specific buyer or the buyer clientele that's coming in, the meaningful is going to be that recording that video, doing that. I still think your phone is king. So getting them on the phone or texting with them via the phone, the video that you're going to text over within minutes of the open house ending. Do not wait an hour. Don't handle that right away, because that is going to make the most impact and you're going to get the most engagement from that. The e-alert is truly just to kind of keep them top of mind, but I would treat them as a normal lead coming in. So at least for my team, we do a blitz, like a 5-day blitz with a lead. So I'm calling and texting for the first 2 days, multiple times a day until they answer, and then kind of going into a push where I'm following up once a day until I get engagement back. But I think your phone is king with that versus an e-alert.
And you mentioned like a video text. Can you give some detail about like what that looks like?
Yes. Hi, this is Cliff Sereday with Marti Hampton Real Estate. I just want to thank you for being one of the first people to view 123 Main Street. I'm going to follow up later today with the off-market opportunities that we talked about. I'll talk soon. That's it. Just a video recorded on your phone. Text them that. Even if I would call them out by name. It makes it more personal. Or if you saw that there was, two people there, and they both signed in, call them out by their name. It's going to make you so much more human than just a regular salesperson or the realtor that's just going to, give them a call later. Let them know, hey, I'm going to follow up with you, and I'll share if you want this setup. I'll put my email. I'll drop my email in the chat, and you guys can email me directly. I can send that over to you. But it's just a quick video calling them out, setting a next step. I'm going to follow up with you. So when you do follow up, it doesn't feel as cold, right? So, hey, I'm just following up like I said I would. Here, I would love to set up a time for you to let's grab a coffee or come into my office Let's sit down and talk about those off-market properties that I have for you. Now, those off-market properties is, it kind of can be a little bit of a bait and switch, right? Or if you're in a larger firm, so at our firm, we have a lot of office exclusives that we're able to share with people who are under a buyer agency with us. That's off-market. So it can kind of be a little deceptive, but clients love off-market. They want something that everybody else can't have. Any more questions? Okay, so like I said, so my email is now in the chat. If you have any more questions on the open house or you're interested in learning a little bit more about our team, I invite you to go to joinmartihampton.com/team, and we will see you guys next Thursday.